Welcome to Crew Life at Sea podcast. Here, we will share the skills you need to make your experience and adventure out at sea a success. Hear inspiring stories from experienced crew from all diversities. Gain knowledge and know your rights. Be part of the Crew Life at Sea. And let's welcome your host, Raymond Crystal.
Hello and welcome to Crew Life at Sea. So today I thought I would sit back, relax and tell you a little bit about the crew accommodation or cabin space in this episode. I want to let you all know about the advantages, the disadvantages, everything there is to know about crew cabins. Excuse any of the unwelcome sound. We're sitting in a beautiful port somewhere, obviously. This ship takes us to amazing places, so I decided just to get out, take my microphone, sit somewhere and just talk to you a little bit about the cabins and accommodations. So let's start off first with the standard cabin, because you get a standard crew cabin and you get an officer cabin. Some ships you get a cabin where you get 4 people sharing, which is crazy. It's like bottom bunk, top bunk on both sides, 4 people. Now imagine 4 people, 1 bathroom they're sharing. All of them have suitcases and it's just so small and it's like a little sardine box, man. It's terrible. So I hope none of you have to ever endure in that, because that's just pure sacrifice for what it is. Not many of those cabins are out there. Nowadays they have 2 minimum, 2 in single cabins. So a basic cabin will have, for example, have a TV. Normally nowadays they have these TVs you can put the USB in, DVD player. Some ships have interactive TV for the guests, and they actually allow it now for crew. So crew on some ships can actually go through the ITV system and pick movies when they want and watch when they like and stop it where they want. Which is very, very nice actually, because on ships the movies are always on repeat for crew. So you could come in and check a movie halfway and come back in again, and now it's at the same place and you keep missing it because they're always on loop. So that's a good thing. Some companies, they give you clocks, the digital clocks in there. I wonder why, so that you can wake up, they're trying to tell you something. And if you're claustrophobic, I don't know, man, I wouldn't suggest you working on a cruise ship, because the cabin is just a little square. It's a bit crazy. If you have a porthole, it's great because you get a little bit of a sun in there and you can feel a little bit of like a human being. But if you don't, in most cases, it's dark when you sleep. So let's talk about the darkness. I don't know, it's so different on a ship when it comes to the darkness compared to when you're at home, you close your curtains and you sleep. On the ship, it's so dark that you sleep, and the dreams that come into your mind are crazy. I've had some crazy dreams at sea. I don't know why. I don't know, maybe it's because of the air, the circulation. I don't know what it is, but it's so dark. Most of the times you wake up, sometimes you don't know what time it is, what day it is, where you are. Sometimes you can wake up at 3 in the afternoon and think it's midnight. Sometimes you wake up, you just don't know what's going on, because it's so dark and it's the same feel all the time. It never changes your cabin. It's like a consistent feeling of that. When the lights are off, it's that consistent darkness. There's no light in there, there's no air in there. It's tough, but you get used to it, It's just the way it is. It depends how you are. If you have a porthole, that's great. You can open it in the mornings. On bad weather, rough sea days, normally they close it because it's dangerous and you have to get permission to open and close those on those days. The double cabins, the normal cabins where you have 2 people sharing, you get 2 beds. Most of the cases it's a bunk bed, 1 at the bottom, 1 at the top. So when you sign on, you just hope that you're the first person in that cabin, because if you're not, you're for sure you're on the top, because the person who's there before you is going to go to the bottom and stay there. And if the person at the bottom signs off and you're on the top, when he signs off, you can take the bottom and the person who comes on will take the top. So that's normally the case. Like example, I was one company, I'm supposed to not share. I'm a single cabin, but with this one company, because the ship is so small, they didn't have enough cabin space, I had to share. So when I got there, I was on the top. And man, when you need to go to the toilet during the night, you have to climb down these steps, this little ladder, and go to the toilet, then you've got to climb back up this ladder, and then go to bed. And if you need to go 2-3 times a night, it's like, jeez, it's hectic. So eventually I moved cabins, and then when I went to the next cabin, I was on top, but the guy at the bottom left, and then when he left, I took the bottom, and it's okay. But because the bottom, you just get up and you go straight to the toilet. I mean, it's not like a far walk. You take 2 steps and you're in the toilet. It's so small, the cabin. So yeah, that's the benefit of being at the bottom. Everybody always wants to be at the bottom. Some people want the top, and if you're on the top, remember that the cabins are all made of metal. It's metal walls. So when you're on the top, you can use magnets to put your phone on there, or your pictures. It's all magnetic, so you can see that crew members stick their photos on the walls, and they use magnets to hold up their photos. They use magnets to do all kinds of things because it's all magnetic. So it's kind of crazy, right? So yeah, it's magnetic walls. There are parts that aren't. It's metal, obviously it's metal, so that's why you can use a magnet. It's not magnetic walls, it's you just throw on a magnet and it'll stick there. If you have a single cabin, you get a cabin steward a crew member who comes, cleans your cabin every day, gives you new towels, cleans your garbage, does your bed, changes your linen once or twice a week, checks if you need anything, and takes care of you, takes your laundry, brings your laundry. So you're kind of spoiled. When you don't have a single cabin and you're not an officer or crew member, you've got to do that all yourself. You've got to clean your cabin, you've got to do all that yourself, you've got to do your own laundry, you've got to hand it in, collect it, you've got to find your own towels, all that kind of stuff. Cabin inspections is a bit of an issue because you've got to make sure your cabin is clean and spotless before that inspection, because they come the next day, like let's say 10:15, whatever time they decide. They knock on your door. Some companies, you're not allowed to be in the cabin when they come, and they go in with 2 or 3 people with a clipboard and a checklist, and they check all the things: the lights, the doors, the floors, your cabin, how clean it is, their food in the fridge, because you're not allowed certain foods in the fridge. You're not allowed to have. They check everything. People aren't allowed to have like mixers and stoves and all these kind of kettles. It's just not allowed. So if they find these things, you get in trouble. But most of the time, a lot of the crew members hide them in their cupboards until cabin inspection's over. A lot of people do a lot of crazy things. I can tell you so many stories. Like I know crew members had mixers and blenders, so they put them in their cupboards before cabin inspection. They get searched, and they finish, they take them out. You're not allowed fruit and all that in your cabin, but people do it. So before inspection, they hide their fruits in their drawers, or or they're not allowed yogurts in their fridge because it can go off. So they hide it until after inspection's done, and then they bring it out again when they're gone. So there's always these kind of things going on. Also, because the walls are so thin, sometimes you have people, cabin mates next door, your neighbors, they make noise, you can't sleep at night, and depending on your shift, it can vary. So if these things happen, there's always a number to call. You can always call security. Security comes in, knocks on the next door neighbor, tells them to keep it down. If people are having sex, nothing you can do. You can complain, but the walls are so thin, you hear all of it. You hear people having sex on the left, you can hear people having sex on the right. It's just the walls are too thin. You can even hear sometimes their TV and what they're watching. Even when they talk, sometimes you can hear their conversation. So it's just how it is at sea. In the fridge, you're only allowed certain items, as I said, so you've got to make sure that those aren't around. But if you do, you just make sure you don't get caught with the wrong foods, because a lot of the people on board, they got connections with galley and staff like that, and they bring prawns into their cabin, rice, and oh man, there's so many things that happen. So another thing is, nowadays these cabins have you got a key card for your door. You enter your key card, boop, and the door opens and the light will flash and you can get in. Sometimes if you put the key card in and it flashes a certain color, it means the battery's dying and you can't get in, and you have to call for help. Sometimes your card gets magnetized, so you have to get a new card. So if you put a magnet next to your card, you'll magnetize it and you can't get in your cabin. So if you want to do that to a friend, you can do that, don't get caught. And then you'll have to go get your card digitized, and then you can go back into your cabin. They have a sprinkler in every single cabin, obviously. These sprinklers are not for hangers. Some crew members put their hangers in there to hang their clothes. They use it to hang things, and if you break that little sprinkler, you are definitely going to get a warning or get sent home, because a lot of companies don't approve of that kind of stuff in the cabins. Yeah, a lot of times I've experienced and also have smoke detectors, because smoking is not allowed in cabins. And I've experienced people smoking in the cabin, putting socks over the smoking detectors, and they're smoking in their cabins, trying to find a way to smoke in the cabin. Some people go in their bathroom, the toilet, and they smoke, and they blow in the little extractor fan, which is the best way to do it, because it's extracting the smoke. If you have a cabin mate who doesn't smoke, it's very difficult, because they'll smell the smoke. You're not allowed to. You'll have to just go to the outer deck or wherever the smoking area is. But if you do have a cabin mate who smokes, you both smoke. Some companies, they don't allow it, smoking in the cabins now. So if you do want to smoke, in your bathroom, that little area, that little extractor fan, or you just go to the smoking areas, It's just, some people just don't like it. Cabin parties, a lot of that going around. People 6 to 10 to 12 people in one small cabin, loud music, people drinking, partying. If it gets too late and people complain, you'll get a knock at the door. Hello, security, open up. Security will open up, and you'll either hide. Some of you will hide, like I did once, try to hide in the toilet. You try to just laugh about what I used to do. And then they'll come in, they'll take all your names, and the next day you'll get reported, and you'll get a warning or get in trouble if you don't listen. Sometimes they let you off, sometimes they don't. It all depends, But if you have a cabin party, let the people know next door and around you. Maybe they'll join you, and then nobody will complain, And if you really want to enjoy it, try not to have it so loud, if you want to keep it going longer. It all depends on, just use common sense, Don't get yourself in trouble, because if you really like your job and the money you're getting paid, you don't want to lose the job. But it doesn't mean you can't stop having fun. Just do it use your common sense, Partners, with sex partners and partners, whatever you want to do, it's allowed. It's good to have. It all depends also if you're your cabin mate. You can't just come in there and start close your little curtain and start having sex with your girl, and your cabin mate's right there, and he's like trying to read a book, or I don't know. You got to get let him know that you have common sense. Or you can, but maybe your cabin mate will complain about that, or maybe he'll just be a pervert. I don't know. It's just, I've always had a single cabin, so I've had the easy way. I always have a girl, she'd come over, and we had our privacy. But when you're sharing, it's not that easy. Some friends of mine used to tell the other friend he's having a girl over, and he would leave the cabin, and he would put a sock on his door, and then if his friend came back and the sock wasn't there, he knew he could come back in. You would come to an agreement with your cabin mate of something like this. And, it's nice to have a partner, and it's not nice to have a partner and you're not be able to do anything with your partner, because of your cabin mate. So try to find a way to accommodate each other, and then it'll be easier for you guys to get through. What else can I tell you about the cabins? They are small, so small. The big cabins, the big cabins are for doctors, hotel directors, captains. Their cabins are wow, man, you walk in there, there's a lounge, there's a bedroom, I don't know, it's so big. Their beds are huge, double, triple size beds. In the single cabins, you have it's a single bed, but with the little extensions, just less of a double bed. And the captain, they have double beds, they have desks, they have furniture, couches, big fridges, big TVs, huge TVs. They have everything, man. And their life is so easy, but we don't know what they went through to get there. So everybody's got a journey that they had to go through to get to where they were. So it's not that easy to live with people. I had a experience where I had moved into this cabin mate friend of mine, and the first night I started to sleep, and man, he had a sleeping disorder called apnea. If you go look at that on the internet and look what it is, it's so bad. It's they try to sleep and they choke themselves with their tongue, and they're and then you think they're dead, and they're not breathing for 10 seconds, and all of a sudden the air all comes back, they just came back to life. And I'm like, what the hell? And this guy was like this, but bad, man, bad. And when he drank, it was even worse. I couldn't keep up. I just couldn't do it anymore. So I complained. I said I need to move cabin, and eventually I moved cabin. Then I moved cabin to another person, for example, and this guy was okay, but he became rude and obnoxious, and we didn't talk. So and we'd walk into the cabin, and he did his thing, I did my thing, very like quiet, and we don't talk ever. This is not a lifestyle. This is not a way to live. So I tell you guys, when you get into your cabin, introduce yourself, become friends with your cabin mate, try to help each other out, work with each other to enjoy your contract. I mean, if you listen to some of my interviews, some of the guys, it's one guy, the one I interviewed from Guyana, West Indies, he never had a problem for 5 years because he made sure that he would work with his cabin mate to get things so you both had some sort of an agreement. You don't want to get to a cabin and struggle and suffer because you guys don't get along. Obviously you can go to human resources and request to change cabin, but it's not just, okay, I want to request and then they're going to just change it. It takes time. And remember, you unpacked and you've been unpacked for how long? You've got to repack all your stuff, get all your stuff ready, and then on embarkation day early, you've got to get your stuff out of there, go into the other cabin. I've done this like 3 times in a few months, and it's not nice. The first time, sometimes you can live in your luggage because you're moving, so you just leave your luggage and you don't want to unpack because you're going to have to unpack and pack again. So, but it all depends on how you work through it. Officer cabins are nice. Some of them have portholes. It's so nice to have the sun come into your cabin at least. You feel a bit of like alive, man, and you can look outside, see where you are, what's going on. But man, with no hole, no porthole, it's crazy, 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 I must tell you. But it's ship life, man. You either love it, you hate it, So I think that's about it that I can tell you about cabins. I don't think there's anything else that I could tell you that would, help you out. But if you have any questions, you can just send me an email if you want to ask anything about cabins or accommodation, and I can assist. I'm sure maybe I left out a few things, but if I do, I'll put it in the show notes or something. But let me know. This was just a short, quick podcast about a few little pointers in accommodation and cabin areas. Yeah, so thank you for being a part of my show, guys. Just remember, I'm here to always help and assist. Email me about anything, and the podcasts are doing very well. We have a lot of them out. If you want to hear about your certain position, go for it. There's a few of them there at www.CREWLIFEATSEA.com. Go to the podcast section and have a look. If you don't see your job description there, by some chance, we're still growing, so email me, send me an email and what you would like, and I will try to get somebody and interview them on that position so you could better understand the life at sea. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, and have a good day or evening wherever you are, and ciao. God bless.
Thanks for listening to Crew Life at Sea podcast. Want any of your questions answered? Send us an email at CREWLIFEATSEA infogroup.com. Thank you for being a part of our adventure.